We're all familiar with using CalNet 2-Step to log into Berkeley websites. It's that one extra step between us being able to navigate course schedules, log into Canvas, or enter the dining halls. In 2019, students and faculty use CalNet 2-Step up to 80,000 times per month, leading to a $400,000 to $600,000 indirect cost per year. We asked students if they would opt out of CalNet 2-Step, and the answer was clear and consistent.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I would.
Yeah.
Honestly, yeah.
For me to download another app to prove that it's me is kind of it's inconvenient.
Okay, so the dining hall, for example, pulling that on your phone, waiting frantically in line, it's sort of traumatic.
I don't have much time.
Because sometimes you don't have your phone next to you.
With my bank account, it's a different story. But with Cal Central and eTang, what are they gonna do? Pay my tuition for me? Who's trying to get into my Cal Central?
So what is CalNet 2-Step? Is it worth the direct and indirect cost? And why are we required to use it? Keep watching to find out. CalNet 2-Step is a fleet of two-factor authentication services used to log into university websites like Cal Central and eTang. There are many interfaces of CalNet 2-Step, but the most popular by far is Duo Mobile, an app that most students and faculty have installed on their phones. Simply put, the purpose of CalNet 2-Step and Duo Mobile is to verify that you are really you. For most, a password seems like the quintessential security measure. It can be difficult to crack while also being convenient to memorize, and for most of our accounts online, it is the only security measure we use. It just isn't obvious why an additional security measure is necessary.
I think it's totally fine without Duo Mobile, because my password I think is pretty secure.
Because I have a pretty good password that I feel people wouldn't guess.
I think my password is pretty strong.
To me, it's logical that if you know your password, you're basically you at that point.
So why is a single password not enough? And by extension, why is CalNet 2-Step necessary? To help us answer those questions, we asked Allison Henry, the Chief Information Security Officer for UC Berkeley. Her job is to detect, respond to, and prevent security threats on the campus network. CalNet 2-Step is one of the services she oversees.
What we saw before we rolled out 2-Step was just massive impacts due to people's passwords getting exposed online, getting gathered up, getting bought and sold on the dark web, and then those passwords being used to really do damage to people's financial lives, to access their personal information. It was pretty bad, and we've been able to cut down on a lot of that really abuse of our electronic systems by putting this extra thing in place. So it isn't just something you know.
Okay, that makes sense. Basically, a single password is not enough because it can leak, thereby allowing someone to access your account without your permission. Two-factor authentication improves security by requiring that somebody not only know your password, but also possess something that you own, like your phone. But should you be given a choice as to opt in or opt out of CalNet 2-Step? In 2020, twofactorauth.org claimed that only 10% of Gmail users lock their account with two-factor authentication, indicating that when given a choice, most users choose not to opt into 2FA. On December 9th, 2021, Google turned two-factor authentication on for 150 million users, but still allowed them to opt out of the service if they wish. Amazon, eBay, Union Bank, and USAA have sensitive information about you but still give customers the choice as to opt in or opt out of two-factor authentication. So why shouldn't Berkeley?
If your account is compromised, it can be used to attack other people. For an example, somebody goes into their email and sends a phishing attack, but since it's coming from a legitimate person that they know and they can see from the headers, this is somebody I know, it's an email address I recognize, that person's going to be a lot more likely to fall for it. Again, too, if we have people who don't have two-factor on their account and we get a massive breach of credentials, then we have to lock a whole bunch of accounts at once, and that's very impactful for the help desk as well, and it compromises our ability to provide IT support.
It is important to note that Berkeley has fewer resources to manage a mass security breach than the private organizations mentioned earlier. Berkeley is a public university and therefore must focus on the benefit of its students and faculty as a whole, rather than the individual. 300 other universities have partnered with Duo Mobile to provide similar services as UC Berkeley, most of which also require their students to participate. Through this lens, it makes more sense why Berkeley requires all students and faculty to use CalNet 2-Step. There are some ways to make CalNet 2-Step easier to use, however. The first is to swipe down the push notification rather than entering Duo Mobile and hitting approve. The second is to enable Remember Me for 30 days in Safari by disabling the block all cookies and prevent cross-site tracking options. Can you think of any ways to improve CalNet 2-Step? Leave them in the comments or email us below.